there's no better education than getting out and seeing the world.
The experiences are what you're going to remember in the long run.
Getting out to see the world has just really opened my eyes to a lot of things.
I know a little bit about a lot of random things, and that's because of travel.
We're going to be able to learn so much about some really great destinations.
I'm excited about how this will improve our group itineraries.
I'm really looking forward to having great conversations about places. Welcome to Destination Dispatch.
Hello, I'm Jim Delleman with Group Travel Odyssey. Thank you for joining us again today. Before we get started with this fantastic destination today, I do want to remind you, take a few moments if you've not done so yet, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are watching us on our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit subscribe. Also, if you ring the bell, you'll be notified anytime that we do have new content on our channel. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn, Group Travel Odyssey, and also make sure to like that Group Travel Odyssey Facebook page. I think I said Group Travel Odyssey one too many times, but make sure to hit all of our social media channels. We would really, really appreciate that. Today, we've got another fantastic destination. Many of you know probably quite a bit about it, but there is so much more that you're going to learn today about Anaheim. Well, I cannot do this by myself, so I am going to bring on our co-hosts. First of all, we have our lead navigator from Group Travel Odyssey, Keith Snowd.
Are you kidding? You could do this by yourself.
Oh, please.
Hey, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you for that. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Wonderful.
And you?
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, I'm excited about this. We've got, again, like I said, everybody thinks they know everything that there is to know about Anaheim, but there's just so much more.
Yes.
And let's bring on our logistics expert here as well. He's also the host of Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast, Stevie G. Hey, Stevie.
What's up, guys? I think do we all get the gray memo here going on? We got some gray vibes.
Yeah. It's our post-storm look. We're still coming out of that, and hopefully we'll get into our bright colors again soon. Fall colors are coming up. Come on. At least where I am in New York. So
yeah.
Well, fall colors here too. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, gentlemen, I know I don't even have to ask this. You obviously have all been to Anaheim.
Yes.
And probably several times. It is quite the destination for groups. But groups think that they know everything there is to know about Anaheim, but there's really a lot more that we're going to be finding out today about Anaheim and everything that they have to offer. So without further ado, let's bring on our expert from Visit Anaheim. We have Michael Young. Michael, hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we've been saying people think that they know everything there is to know about Anaheim because they've been a couple of times. However, there is so much more, and we know that there's always more going on, with the things that they know about, and also with new features and stuff that are being built into your area. So, we're very excited to have you on today, and thank you for coming back after, we had to postpone a little bit previously, but we're really glad to have you back because, we need to learn all of this new stuff that about Anaheim and everything that's going on there. It's become quite well known for specific reasons, but there are other things that people don't really know about. And so, one of the things that you had talked about is the 4 words that you would say kind of bring us into what Anaheim is about. Why don't you go ahead and share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. And first, I just want to apologize. I didn't get the memo on the gray, but we'll make do. All right. So the differentiators, we in Anaheim, we like to say we have the largest, the only, the first, and the original. And when we use those words, what we're referring to when we say the largest, we have the largest convention center on the West Coast. And so if you're looking for a place for a big convention, which oftentimes groups are looking for that, we're your place. Got a recent expansion, and so that's the largest. The only, we have the only Avengers campus in North America, and due to some conversations with those characters in Universal and on the other coast, we will remain the only Avengers campus in North America. This is one that kind of trips people up. California's first theme park is in Anaheim area, and it is Knott's Berry Farm, which actually started as an actual working berry farm and celebrated 100 years during the pandemic. And the original, obviously, we're referring to the Disneyland, the original Disneyland theme park, which opened July 17th, 1955, and has been bringing magic and family fun for millions of people for generations. Yeah,
that's fantastic. That's really fantastic. And you know, like I said, I think people, like you said, are surprised to realize that Knott's Berry Farm is, you know, that's the older one. That's the one that's been around for, you said, over 100 years. And I remember very well visiting that as a kid. And recently, when IPW was in Anaheim, I went back again, and I cannot believe how much it's grown and how much it's changed. And even since then, I've heard that there are plans for expansion, and there are plans for new rides and events and things like that going on there. So it sounds like your theme parks both are really doing well there. Would you say that's pretty much like the top destination visitation area that groups include on their trips?
Yeah, Disneyland is kind of the driver. People are coming for that Disney experience, and you know, having the history of Walt Disney walking through that park, it is definitely a huge draw. Obviously, I'm not taking anything away from other parks, other Disney destinations, but there's just something special about being that original theme park, which kind of gave I guess, purpose to those other parks that could get more space and expand. But the Disneyland Resort is also expanding, and they've got some exciting things coming up, especially for the groups, student groups specifically, but all groups of any kind with their Imagination Campus. They completely reimagine that product and have different categories of offerings for groups. You can kind of learn about arts, and you can do science and technology, leadership and innovation. So there's a product for just about every type of group, and you can learn the Disney difference about kind of some of those things that as Disney kind of has their commitment to excellence and customer service and just that guest experience, how that can be translated into all those other areas of learning. So that's some great product that has been fully redeveloped.
Michael, one of the things that I've always known and has happened frequently in my career with Anaheim is it becomes kind of, for Southern California, it becomes a real kind of hub for a group because you have such a large variety and a large quantity of hotel product, mainly because you have the largest convention center on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting to me that I don't think that groups often dive much deeper than the theme parks. And I would love to hear what you think groups miss out on, that they don't spend enough time when they are staying in Anaheim. Because, as you know, there's a lot of groups that stay in Anaheim, they do the theme park, and then they do other things in Southern California. And I am sure there are things in Anaheim that they're missing. What's the thing that the groups miss the most that they should be doing?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I kind of point out is we have a lot of history in Anaheim. It was actually settled by 30-some German farming families, and so there's this underlying culture there. We've got a great food scene. We do have breweries. Obviously, if you're a student group, we're not pushing that on anybody, but it is there with German, kind of those German roots. But performance venues, a lot of people think of Anaheim and they think about the park. We also have two professional sports teams. We have the Ducks from the NHL and the Anaheim Angels. And so we have great group outings there. We've got theater, we've got our proximity to the beaches, but also the history of California. America's 37th president, Richard Nixon, is actually the only California-born president, but the house that he was born in is actually in just a city away from us in Yorba Linda, California. And our visitors don't often realize that we have a presidential library and birthplace that close where they can get into some of America's history. And, obviously Richard Nixon, most people, the first thing they say is, oh, Watergate. But, there's a lot of things that he did in terms of ending the draft and Title IX and great programs. He was an ambassador of peace as vice president. And so that's kind of a great half day spot on arrival. And we can talk about that later, but that history is also here. California, Anaheim specific is a great hub to get to Los Angeles, to San Diego, because we are kind of centrally located in the middle of that Southern California destination. So
right, and that variety of hotel product really gives groups an option with any level of hotel that you want. I mean, just you just have to navigate when there's a convention or not.
Absolutely. Well, our convention calendar is available on our website, but we do have over 150 hotels in the Anaheim area with amenities and product offerings and quads and everything. We do have a resource on our website. Visit anaheim.org/student group travel, which will take you to that resource. And it's a landing page which allows you to kind of see who's looking for that group business. And it'll tell you a number of quads, instruments, storage, who's your contact person, address, location of those hotels. But we also have categories for restaurants and theme parks, performance venues, transportation, basically anything you need to put together a group itinerary. So check that out when you have a moment, and we are going to continue updating that as new information comes available.
One of the great things I think about Southern California is I love theme parks, right? But in certain parts of the country, some of my favorite theme parks won't open until May or April, right, in the year. But one of the benefits of being in Southern California is that you can really visit a theme park year-round. Can you talk about that a little bit and what it's like to visit the theme parks throughout different times of the years, and maybe some of the events or what happens during the holiday seasons?
Yeah, well, and it is fun to kind of visit the theme parks throughout the year. The weather, obviously, we have lends itself very nice to do that. But each of the theme park products that we have kind of gets an overlay. So right now, the Disneyland Resort is dressed up for fall. They put the giant pumpkins and things, and they do Oogie Boogie Bash and Mickey's Halloween treat, and so they are really embracing that fun and that overlay of that season. And then, of course, as the holidays come in, what I think is genius is Knott's Berry Farm. I mean, they named their theme park knowing that they could just change it, and it rhymed with Knott's Merry Farm, Knott's Scary Farm. Anyway,
that's great.
That's great.
It was a functioning berry farm. It just happened to be that they can put those holiday overlays, and so they do have Knott's Scary Farm right now, which is going on, and it's pretty scary. I'm not a huge fan of clowns. We went over to the opening a week ago, and I ended up in this clown corridor, and oh
man,
let's just say I got out of there pretty quick. But Scary Farm and then Merry Farm, they're doing the snow, and obviously the Disneyland Resort when they have the fireworks, and they play I'll Be Home for Christmas, and my wife cries every time. So yes, it is a special time to go. But the great thing about our location is that you can enjoy the theme parks, and we've got theme park offerings for coaster enthusiasts, and then those who are just looking to kind of eat their way through a theme park, which, I'm guilty of that. But yeah, lots of things happening.
We are all guilty of that.
Yeah. Always the healthiest choices too. So, what do you
Hey,
The fried chicken at Knott's Berry Farm. I'm sorry. That's, if you don't get that while you're there, you're missing out. So
Yes,
Mrs. Knott's chicken, and then of course you can grab a nice and healthy corn dog at the Disneyland Resort. Corn dog castle.
Oh,
so
yeah.
what time of year do you say is the best time for a group to visit? Except for the fact that the weather's beautiful all year, but what time of year?
Yeah, I would really kind of say it kind of depends on what the group is looking to do. Obviously, if it's a performance group, you can kind of come year round. We've got built-in audiences at the baseball and hockey games. Obviously, you would go during those seasons. January is a good time. Early January, kind of as schools are starting back up. That's a good time to get in because the leisure travel isn't quite as heavy. And then, obviously spring is a great time. That's when we have a lot of the music festivals and just it's great time to be in the park. But I guess the other question would be is there a bad time to bring a group? And I don't really think there is. I mean, you mentioned look at the convention calendar. If we have a citywide convention, you might not want to pick that time for your group to be here. But even when that happens, we do have 150 hotels, so we can definitely accommodate group business. It just, you want to plan ahead so that you make sure you get a place to eat for a larger group during those periods because our restaurants get busy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I noticed, on your site as well, you have the Anaheim Packing House and places like that. What can you tell us about those as far as, visitation and bringing your tourists in?
Yeah, so we have kind of this food hall scene. The Packing House is kind of the newest offering in that vein, and what it was the 1919 sun-kissed packing plant where they would take the citrus fruits off the trees from the crates, go through them, take out the ones that were bad, and then load the healthy fruit onto the railroad to get distribution throughout the country. Well, the building is as it was, but it was gutted inside, and it's become an international food hall with over 52 different vendors. Wow. And you can get everything from desserts, unique desserts at Pop Bar, or Georgia's down home, kind of southern food. There's a speakeasy there, which again, the Blind Rabbit isn't crying out for groups. It's pretty small, but we have anti-gravity noodles, a lot of unique different offerings there. And so in addition to that, that's one great place that's connected kind of in the center city area. We have Fran vehicles and ART transportation, Anaheim Regional Transportation, which is great at moving groups around the city. The Fran is free rides around the neighborhood. So if you take an ART vehicle to the packing district, you can jump on a 6-person Fran vehicle. It's app, you just dial it up and it can get you all around. There's a place called House of Chimney Cakes, which is basically kind of a churro that you put toppings around the outside and then they fill it with ice cream. And oh man, you've got to experience that House of Chimney Cake. But you can take the Fran vehicle to get there and then take the ART vehicle back to your hotels in the resort area.
House of Chimney Cakes is starting to speak my language. Now we're
going to say that's going on our list. So
we after doing these episodes, we have an entire food tour of the United States we're taking.
Okay. Well, when you get to Anaheim, I'll take you around. We've got that's unique stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So with the food scene like that, I know that you've got the food halls and things like that. I'm assuming that they're just probably with the amount of hotel spaces that you have, there's probably an equal amount of restaurants that are group friendly, not only for student groups, but adult groups as well. What would you say, and you don't have to list them all, what would you say are some of your top restaurants that you have?
Yeah, that is a great question, Jim. And it kind of goes back to like, what are you looking to do? Do you want it to be an experience? Are you looking to get a grab and go? because you got to get on to the next performance. But we do have medieval times, dinner, and tournament. That's always big in my book because it's not just dinner; it's dinner and tournament.
Right.
So anyway, but we have Pirates Dinner Adventure. We've got themed restaurants like Bubba Gump. We have the House of Blues in our Garden Walk area, and then we've got Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. We have Buca de Beppo, these food halls, and then several of our our hotels have restaurant property. The Anaheim Hotel has a pizza restaurant in the lobby, just off the lobby, which is great for groups. And I'm trying to think, we've got quite a bit though of new product coming in. And then just down the street in Garden Grove, we have Steelcraft, which is actually kind of another food hall, but it's constructed out of shipping containers. So all of the kind of outlets are out of those. And if you're a hockey fan, Timu Solani has a restaurant there called the Penalty Box, and it has hockey themed foods. The hockey puck is obviously a burger, but it looks like a hockey puck. And anyway, so they've got those types of things.
I like that. Yeah, I like that you have regular dining establishments, but also the unique ones, and also the ones that offer not only dining but dining and entertainment. Because that's especially, I think, especially with the student market, that is something that they're looking for quite a bit. Is what's going to fill our evening, and so that kind of helps a lot. But with the adult market as well, there are all of those that you mentioned are super appealing to the group market. So that's fantastic. So thank you for that. I want to take just a moment now to talk a little bit about some of our partners. So, Stevie?
Group Travel Odyssey would like to take a moment to thank our amazing partners, including Book My Group, Travel Advocates, We Travel, Broadway Inbound, and Fly My Group. These partnerships help make business without boundaries possible, and we encourage our viewers to learn more about these wonderful companies. Now, back to Destination Dispatch.
Thank you for that, Stevie. Right now, what we're going to do is I'm turning this over to Keith and Michael, and we're going to take you through a sample itinerary of what your groups can do in Anaheim in 3 days.
Great. Thanks, Jim. So to start off, I want to remind everybody that if you are a GTO member company, you can find this itinerary in several places in GTO. One is in Supplier Manager under the Visit Anaheim listing. You can also find it if you hit that Trip Templates button that is on your homepage of the Sales Manager app, and you will be able to copy it and use it right in one of your own itineraries with all the pricing there and everything. So it makes it super easy for you to use this itinerary as a basis for your next Anaheim adventure. So I'm going to let Michael do the talking now and talk us through this 3-day itinerary to Anaheim. Michael.
All right, perfect. We've talked about Anaheim as a destination. It's known for being home of Disneyland, and that's kind of what gets people in the door. The original Disneyland theme park, designed and imagined by Walt Disney himself. And we kind of went through those words: the original, the first, the only, and I said the largest, but it's the biggest on this itinerary. You get the idea. So kind of going along that. But when you're coming into town, I briefly mentioned the Richard Nixon Presidential Library. This is a great arrival day experience. It's full of history. They did a major renovation in 2016. You can actually sit behind the desk in the 1970s Oval Office and pick up the phone and get your photo. It's very Instagrammable. But a lot of things that people don't realize about the Nixon administration or his time in office is that every man who stepped foot on the moon did so when he was president. So you've got the astronauts there, you've got, just a lot. And we're in this season where that was 50 years ago. So we're talking about the 50th anniversary of a lot of these great things the kitchen table debates with Khrushchev that people are learning in school. They can kind of see that kind of come to life. and they don't shy away from Watergate. They actually take you through kind of what happened, and so you can learn about that, but also then all of the other things that Nixon did while he was vice president and everything. And it's unique because he was a humble Quaker and lived on just kind of a tiny house, and the house that he was born on is on the property. So great, half day thing to check out. But if you're not into history, I mean, obviously not everybody is. Anaheim has plenty of shopping. We've got the outlets at Orange, which are just down the street from the Disneyland Resort area. South Coast Plaza, Citadel Outlets, or you can head over to the Anaheim Packing District and check out that International Food Hall with the dining options, or get a Fran vehicle to House of Chimney Cakes. I mean, obviously I'd say, hey, let's do that on arrival day. Then you check into your hotel. Downtown Disney is there. More shopping, dining, evening entertainment, and you've got great views of the fireworks from the resort area. So those are some suggestions for arrival day. Day 2, I'm going to jump back to day 1 real quick and just add on. This is if you had a performance that you were looking to do, let's say you're a choir or a band or something like that, that's also a great day with our partners. If you're heading down to South Coast Plaza, they have the Segerstrom Center for the Arts, which is a beautiful concert hall. And so there's opportunities for choral groups and performing groups to showcase their talents there.
And I see that there's an opportunity to perform also at the Richard Nixon Presidential Library as well.
Yes, they have a replica of the White House East Room, which is, I mean, then you can just fool everybody because they're going to be like, wait, I thought you were on the West Coast. How are you performing in the White House? But yeah, it's
I love a good deception. That's wonderful.
All right. So day 2, Disneyland Resort. A lot of times people are coming here for Disneyland. You could spend, 5 days at the Disneyland Resort and not experience everything. There are favorites. Jungle Cruise, Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean. These are childhood favorites, and they're going to be nostalgic and everything. But newly introduced product at the Disneyland Resort as of 2019, we have Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, where you can literally walk into the Millennium Falcon. You see the chessboard and everything. So my inner 7-year-old just completely geeked out there. I'm older than, some of you who may be watching this, but it is an amazing experience to step foot on the Millennium Falcon in Smuggler's Run. And then a fully immersive experience on Rise of the Resistance. And then Disney California Adventure has Adventures Campus, which just opened, and they have the Web Slingers attraction, which is great. Disneyland is also a foodie's paradise. I mentioned the corn dogs earlier. Interesting fact, part of the Disney experience is that they are going to appeal to all the senses. So they actually have vents that are pumping out the scent of vanilla right next to the Candy Maker's Palace. But same thing with the popcorn carts. So no wonder you're always hungry at Disneyland. They're just kind of pumping it there, saying, hey, here we go. Another one of my favorites is the Monte Cristo sandwich in New Orleans Square. You can get that at the Blue Bayou. Everyone loves a churro, Mickey-shaped ice cream, pretzels. And as I said in this itinerary, if you leave Disneyland hungry, you did something wrong. With a Park Hopper Pass, half the day's there, and then you head over to California Adventure. You've got Cars Land, this whole Pixar Pier for your other Disney favorite. The nighttime shows are all amazing. And if anybody's, attending Disney Plus and you watched kind of the D23 updates, D23 is kind of a fan show where they talk about what's coming up. Well, it's called D23 because 1923 was kind of the founding of the Walt Disney Company. And so, we're about heading into 2023. So they're going to be doing some amazing things with 100 years of Disney magic.
That's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
It's,
right?
It's just so hard to imagine. 100 years. Wow.
Yeah. And so they are going to be having that spin on the nighttime extravaganzas, the fireworks, the parades, World of Color.
That's great.
So lots going on. And that we didn't even touch on all of the things that are going on with the groups at the Imagination Campus. They have performing arts, arts and humanities, science and technology, and leadership and innovation. So you can learn about teamwork from a Disney perspective. And those workshops, I mean, they kind of show you how they use that in their product, which always helps that education component come to life.
And I can attest to that. Their new programs are amazing. And we actually were able to attend a FAM here on the East Coast with one of their new Imagination Campus programs, and it was really incredible.
Perfect.
So, yes.
Yeah. Well, great. So heading over day 3. Well, we're going to do another theme park here. That might seem a little ambitious, but bring your walking shoes. Make sure you do some stretching. But with Knott's Berry Farm, there is so much history there. And I kind of included the story here, but I'll tell you, it started as a working berry farm. So every boysenberry you have ever tasted got its origins at Knott's Berry Farm. That's because Walter Knott and Rudolph Boysen cross-pollinated a berry, and they had the loganberry, the blackberry, and the raspberry, and they made the boysenberry, which is a larger berry which didn't lose its sweetness. And so you could take less berries to make a pie. And that was the goal, was, hey, let's make these pies go further with less berries. So they were doing that, and you could get your jams and jellies. And then Cordelia Knott decided that she wanted on the weekends to serve her fried chicken to people waiting to buy pies. And so she would get her wedding china out, and there would be lines. And so her husband said, well, let's get something for the crowds to interact with while they're waiting for the chicken dinner. And so they added the ghost town, then they added the stagecoach, then they added the train, and it just kind of this growth of a theme park. Then they started putting little rides in, and before you know it, Cedar Fair came in. And Cedar Fair is if anybody been to Cedar Point in Sandusky County, Ohio, it's the roller coaster capital. So Cedar Fair got involved with Knott's Berry Farm, and then you saw like Accelerator and all these, really extreme coasters, which are great. But what that means is you've got this great rich history, and this like slice of Americana, because you've got the ghost town and the Wild West and things. And then you have Camp Snoopy. So you've got the Peanuts characters, which are fun, to go along with Knott's Berry Farm's characters. And so it's just a good time to be had there with the great food. And again, with the invention of the boysenberry coming from Knott's Berry Farm, they do a boysenberry festival where you get everything from boysenberry punch to boysenberry churros to they'll put boysenberry on anything, but it's good. So, yeah.
And boysenberries are still grown in California, aren't they?
They sure are. Yeah, one of the few places.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we did include, transportation to and from Knott's Berry Farm is available through Anaheim Regional Transportation Shuttles. So from the hotel area, you can pick up an ART shuttle, and it'll get you to and from Knott. It'll also take you to the packing house and the stadium. So we do have transportation options for groups that kind of make it a little bit more user-friendly to get around, and more economical to get around while you're in town.
Saves a lot of parking costs.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's a little bit of information there if you are, getting access to the full itinerary. But they do have 1, 3, and 5 day passes with with that full connectivity.
So you really could expand this. You do multiple days at Disneyland. You do the first day where you're visiting the Richard Nixon Museum and the Presidential Library, and then you could do a whole day of just shopping. You could really expand this into a 5-6 day itinerary easily without even thinking about it, and not really have to leave the Anaheim area at all.
Yeah, and one of our messages kind of to an international audience is 7 days is not enough, because using Anaheim as the hub of your Southern California vacation, you can also tack on a day for Los Angeles and a day for San Diego, a day for Catalina Island. There's all kinds of fun things. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Keith. You could spend 1 day at Disneyland, 1 day as a Disney California Adventure, and you still wouldn't have done everything to do. So I list a few other options there. There are day trips to Catalina, whale watching, and 42 miles of coastline to explore, just minutes from Anaheim.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Catalina Island is, there is a song about it, but 26 miles across the sea off of Newport, or departing out of Long Beach Harbor, you can get to Catalina Island. And it's just kind of an oasis in the middle of the ocean there, 26 miles off the coast, but it's got some great history as well. There's the Wrigley Mansion. So the Chicago Cubs used to do spring training on Catalina Island, and so Wrigley has a property there. But there's also bison that are kind of roaming free there, and people always are, are they native to this area? No, they were filming a movie, and so they imported the bison. Well, then the movie funding got cut, and they just left the bison there. But they've continued to populate. So you've got bison or buffalo on Catalina Island. Anyway,
wow.
So some unique stories over there as well. And then just south of us, we have SeaWorld San Diego, Legoland in Carlsbad, the San Diego Zoo, Wild Animal Park. So they all have great educational programs for groups as well. And then, obviously Southern California, you've got to mention Hollywood. We have the Warner Brothers Studio Tour that you can go on. You've got Universal Studios Hollywood, Starline Tour of Celebrity Homes, which is always fun for groups because they're always like, ooh, who can I see? But anyway, you can do that at Newport Harbor as well. They have a great sightseeing harbor tour of Balboa Island and all that, and they'll point out, okay, that's Cyndi Lauper's house, that's where Vanna White lives, and I love that because they say, Cyndi Lauper, she has the property there, but she's only there time after time.
Oh, that's bad. Wow. Anyway. You told us you were a tour guide, but now I truly believe it.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, you throw in the sports teams, you've got the Anaheim Angels, the Ducks. Those are always great. And, for our groups that are coming from out of town, you can chase your home team and watch them come play here in Anaheim. So, catch a couple days of theme parks. And then, if you're from New York, we've got the Rangers coming in for hockey. And, your sports teams anyway.
Yeah.
But Angel Stadium and Honda Center, and in that area of the town, we've got a brand new venue that's going to be coming up. And I will share some information with that, but it's called OC Vibe. And it is going to be an expansion of performance venues and public space, parks, eateries, in anticipation of the 28 Olympics in Los Angeles.
Oh.
We're going to have volleyball take place at the Honda Center, but they're putting together hotel product and things, and this entertainment complex called OC Vibe. So that's something to look for. It's breaking ground very soon, with phase 1 opening in early 24.
That's great. Well,
yeah.
I really appreciate you walking us through this itinerary and sharing all the options. And as always, we have more options than you can get to in a normal week. So you really could have a stellar itinerary, both for student groups and adult groups. Anybody fits anybody's need. So thank you for sharing that, and thanks for walking us through it. Jim, back to you.
Yeah, and just before we let you go today, let us know again what that resource is for the student travel, because you even said you had mentioned that there are several performance venues and stuff like that. And from what you told us before we were talking, a lot of that is listed on that portal for student travel. So take us through that one more time, just so people have that information.
Yeah, and that resource is there, and we are going to be updating it. We definitely need some work on the restaurant page, and that's just because we're building it out. But it is visitanaheim.org/student-group-travel. So sorry, there's some dashes in there, but
we'll correct that in just a moment.
But if you do a quick Google search for visitanaheim.org student group travel, it'll pop up.
Stevie, I'm showing it right now if you want to see it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
So there it goes. So, you can see let the fun begin. And then as you drag it down, you can see here are the hotels. So if you click on the hotels tab, if you don't mind just grabbing that, it's going to take you to this document, which you can download. But there you have it. It's going to, those are the hotels that they were quick out of the gate and said, hey, we want student business. And so they gave us their capacities, their rates, and who your contact person is, number of quads, bus parking, all those kind of group essentials. But then we have this document for all of those other categories as well. So it does make it, you can jump in on there. You've got, total number of quads, average student rates, motor parking, is breakfast included. We've got some great breakfast spaces. So we try to make it as user friendly and answer the questions, to kind of save operators time if they're trying to build it out and say, hey, we need that. Now the performance venue tab, obviously we don't have too much on there, and that's another one where we developed the resource kind of before we compiled all the data, because we wanted to say, hey, this is coming and we are committed to kind of making this work for you. And so it's updating kind of as we get the info.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Wow. Well, Michael, thank you so much. And why don't you let us know one more time, if people want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to reach out to me, I'm myoung@visitanaheim.org. You can email me, and I'm happy to give you sample itineraries. We've got digital content. You can visit my LinkedIn. That's just Michael Young. Although if you just type Michael Young, you're going to have to search through a million. I had unoriginal parents, but so I'm happy to be a resource for you, an extension of your team. So if you're putting things together and you say, hey, Mike, I got 3 hours, what should we do? I can definitely help you round out an itinerary. And we definitely have the team that can point you in the right direction and put you in contact with those partners.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We really thank you for all this great information. This will keep us busy creating itineraries and stuff like that. And I'm sure you'll have a lot more people coming in and hopefully doing more stuff in Anaheim, in and around Anaheim. So thank you so much for joining us today, Michael.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to showcase the destination. And as new information comes up, what's the best way to get it to you?
Okay.
All right. I'll reach out and get it to you then.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to get information to us always is through our supplier team on GTO. And the best way to do that is you can email suppliers@gtonetwork.com. Or Jim can actually put you in touch with Sierra, and she will just help you directly, which will be even easier.
Well, perfect.
And I will send you that information once we're off air. Brilliant. So thank you so much, and we'll get that information back and forth. And like I said, we'll also let you know, if people are signing up for these itineraries and stuff like that, we'll let you know that as well. So Thanks
Appreciate
again.
it. Thanks
Great.
for your time.
Thank you.
Take care. Just a reminder that Destination Dispatch does happen every Thursday, and we like to visit some really fantastic group-friendly destinations all over the world. And I say that because I believe, Stevie, is it next week that we're going to England?
Yes, we are. I don't know if we want to give away where we're going just yet, but it is across the pond. Yes,
it is. It is. And stay tuned because it's going to be at a slightly different time next week. So make sure, to check on Facebook, check our social media channels, so that way you can see exactly when next week's Destination Dispatch is going to be happening. And again, make sure, especially if you are following us or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is a great resource for all of our previous episodes of Destination Dispatch, as well as some fun videos that we've all put together, and also our GTO Coach and Go. And GTO Coach and Go is a coaching session that we bring on some of the experts from our team that take you through different processes and different portions of our Group Travel Odyssey system. That's on Tuesdays, every other Tuesday at 2 p.m. But like I said, those then live on our YouTube channel as well. Keith, if they need more information from us, how can they get that?
So you can visit grouptravelodyssey.com, or you can email Jim, myself, Stevie G, Kara, any of us on the team. When you go to grouptravelodyssey.com, you'll see all of our contact information. We're all happy to help you find out more about what we can do to make your life easier as a tour operator, and also as a supplier, by the way. So please reach out and let us help you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And Stevie G, tell us a little more about Destinations Beyond Expectations.
Sure. It's the podcast that I host. It's the podcast designed for students of travel. New episodes every Friday. This Friday, we're actually going to Egypt, talking about a few cities that you might want to check out if you're planning a trip to Egypt, which is, I think, pretty neat. And check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, anywhere podcasts are available, or go right to the website, dbetravel.com, to see a list of all the episodes and maybe a couple fun travel blogs as well.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Well, gentlemen, as always, it's been fantastic spending time with you this afternoon, and I look forward to doing it again very, very soon. Everybody else, have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching this episode of Destination Dispatch. We invite you to stay connected with Group Travel Odyssey on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and be sure to check out more of our media, including GTO Coach and Go and the Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast. Please visit our website, grouptravelodyssey.com, where you can learn more about GTO and request a demo. Group Travel Odyssey, business without boundaries.